From Luke McCaffrey's explosive camp breakout to Laremy Tunsil's dominant left side leadership, the Commanders have assembled an absolute powerhouse around Jayden Daniels for a championship run.
Good morning.
I know wide receiver is a position that you guys will cycle through a lot during the regular season, but with the unofficial depth chart dropping, Luke McCaffrey got that third spot right now. What have you seen from him this camp that made you comfortable doing that at this point?
Yeah, I would say the unofficial depth chart is like as valuable as like preseason rankings. Okay, so so strong. But what I can comment on is the intentional work by Luke in a number of areas. He really kind of came on as a knack as a kick returner last year, so that was like, kind of speaks to his competitive nature. He's improved releases off the line of scrimmage, the route, techniques, and so.
What is it that you lose the most with him?
I think obviously just the skill and pass protection of where he's at. He's in fantastic shape. Like, he is really like on the top of his game right now. So both in the run and pass, like, this is an equally strong player, and so it's a big deal. When it's game on, you run behind a player like that, in the running game and in pass protection, like you don't get a lot of help, and that's a good thing.
Coach, you preached that versatility across the line,
Yep.
And for Brandon to move back over to left tackle. Was there any thoughts?
But when you talk to opposing defensive coordinators in the league, and they say, what makes Sean McVay so good? Sean McVay is one of those guys that could cover up for subpar play on the offensive line. So if I'm David Blough, one of the things I'm thinking about is I have the athleticism of Jayden Daniels. What do I have? What can we do well? And just try to work around it.
I was going to say, Laremy Tunsil, top 5 tackle in football by all measures last year, by pressure rate, by time to pressure, how much time it gave Jayden Daniels to throw. It takes a special GM to draft a player like that. Thank God Mike Tannenbaum is here with us. But listen, a tackle injury is the second worst injury a franchise can have, because quarterback is first.
Top story is kind of a bummer. It comes from Commanders camp, where 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle Laremy Tunsil suffered a torn triceps over the weekend. Moments ago, head coach Dan Quinn confirmed that Tunsil will require surgery and will miss a significant portion of the season. Tunsil, of course, makes $30 million a year after signing that extension with Washington in March. It's the largest contract in terms of average annual value by any offensive tackle in the league. He's the only tackle to ever make $30 million a year. He is now out. We bring in our NFL crew. Jason McCourty is with us. Put it in context. What does losing Tunsil mean for the Commanders?
It's brutal for them.
All right, let's get rocking. First, let's start on an update on Laremy. And so he did injure his tricep. He is going to get surgery. And it's always tough to talk about a player missing time, and especially a great player like LT. Not only is he an unbelievable player, like, he is a absolutely fantastic teammate, and he'll be missed, and we can't wait to get him back. When these tough scenarios come up, it does provide some opportunities, and Brandon Coleman will shift back out to left tackle. He's played a lot of winning football at left tackle here, and we know that he's ready for it. He's put in an excellent offseason, and the team is very confident in him. So all that said,
Really big deal. This is a really big deal for a pivotal season for Jayden Daniels, where I think everybody's wondering when rookie year Jayden Daniels is going to come back. Well, last year he was bottom 5 against the blitz by all measures, and teams know what to throw at him when he's healthy. Obviously, he's got to be healthy for him to get that rookie year form back. But I just look at this offense, and I see Jayden Daniels having to go into Superman mode. And if you're saying there's injuries on the offensive line, I talked to Jayden Daniels on Saturday. And I said, who's the most underrated guy on this team? And he said, it's a unit. It's the offensive line. And he's talked about Laremy Tunsil. And he waxed poetic about how important Laremy Tunsil is, his place in this league, all of that stuff. And then a couple hours later, we find out he might be out for the season. This is massive. It cannot be overstated. And
Replacing a $30 million legend isn't just tough, it's impossible. And now, Jayden Daniels is exposed to the ultimate NFL nightmare.
Who's played in 28 games, and J-Mac, you mentioned about Jayden Daniels. One of his strengths is his mobility. Yep. So you have a first-time play caller in David Blough. Maybe they try a little bit more quick game. Maybe they try to move the pocket more. A lot of defensive coordinators will tell you that Sean McVay was so good as a play caller to cover up deficiencies on the offensive line. maybe Washington has to look towards that as well.
I get nervous because now it's like, oh, here comes Jayden Daniels having to put on the Superman cape
Right.
yet again and playing hero ball to just win games without his left tackle. What do you make of the situation?
Yeah, they've dedicated their offseason and said as much to making sure that they didn't ask as much of Jayden Daniels as they did in his first 2 seasons. This obviously moves things.
Losing Laremy Tunsil, losing any left tackle in training camp, not great, let alone this one. What's your level of concern for Jayden Daniels without the person who's protecting his blind side?
Definitely a concern, and I was in Miami when we drafted Laremy. He is a great athlete. He's a better teammate, and all those sort of behind-the-line scrimmage plays, the perimeter runs, the short, quick passing game, he was so good because he get outside the numbers so fast. So this is far from ideal, but Brandon Coleman's played 28 games in the NFL, and if there's a silver lining, it's August 10th. So players like Taylor Decker are out there, or maybe you trade for somebody like Walker Little, who's in Jacksonville, who's a backup now. So you see what you have in Brandon Coleman. First-time play caller David Blough has his work cut out for him.
We see that happen, but you said something about how this puts them closer to the Giants in their own division. Can they survive without Laremy Tunsil and be a legitimate playoff contender to get back into that race that they were 2 years ago?
I have my doubts, and I was high on them going into Saturday's practice when I saw this. And by the way, if you were there, it did not seem like a season-ending injury for Laremy Tunsil.
Right.
I mean, that was the most important thing. He went in the facility. It didn't look like anything. You know, some of those guys, you go in the facility, it's a bathroom break, and then they come out. It was that level of concern, which is about a 2 out of 10, and all of a sudden we get that update a couple hours later, which was frankly.
The Washington Commanders entered the 2026 NFL training camp riding a tidal wave of unbridled optimism. After years of organizational dysfunction, quarterback instability, and offensive line collapse, Washington finally looked like a franchise with a clear, lethal vision. Armed with a transcendent young signal caller in Jayden Daniels, a modernized offensive staff led by first-time play caller David Blough, and a front office willing to throw unprecedented money at structural stability, the Commanders were supposed to be the dark horse juggernaut ready to flip the NFC East upside down. The centerpiece of that entire vision was Laremy Tunsil. Back in March, Washington sent shockwaves across the entire NFL landscape by signing the 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle to a staggering $30 million annual extension. It was a historic contract, the largest average annual value ever awarded to an offensive lineman in the history of professional football. By investing $30 million a year into a single blindside protector, Washington wasn't just paying for elite block grades. They were purchasing insurance for Jayden Daniels' career. In a league where young quarterbacks are routinely ruined by leaky left tackles and relentless blitzing, Tunsil was the unyielding brick wall designed to guarantee Daniels time, comfort, and a clean pocket. For 5 months, the narrative inside the Commanders facility was purely utopian. We saw clips of rookie wide receiver Luke McCaffrey putting in relentless, intentional work across training camp, ultimately seizing the WR3 spot on the depth chart with his aggressive release package and kick return tenacity. We heard head coach Dan Quinn gush about the chemistry brewing inside the locker room, praising Tunsil not only as a top 5 pass protector on the field, but as the vocal, steadying heartbeat of the entire offensive line room. Everything was aligned for Washington to transition from a chaotic, scramble-heavy offense into a surgical, under-center play-action machine modeled after Sean McVay's golden playbook. Then, in a single devastating afternoon, that entire $30 million dream imploded. During a routine padded practice over the weekend, Laremy Tunsil went down grabbing his upper arm. What initially appeared to be a minor tweak or a routine training camp stinger quickly spiraled into an absolute worst-case nightmare. Head coach Dan Quinn stood before a stunned press corps on Monday morning and delivered the crushing news. Tunsil suffered a severe torn triceps, requires immediate season-ending surgery, and will miss a massive chunk, if not the entirety, of the 2026 season. Make no mistake, in the brutal hierarchy of NFL injuries, losing your starting left tackle is the absolute worst thing that can happen to a franchise outside of losing your starting quarterback. Why? Because losing an elite left tackle dramatically multiplies the risk that your quarterback will get hurt next. A top-tier tackle like Laremy Tunsil is an incredible luxury because he isolates the defense's best pass rusher on an island. He doesn't require tight end chips, extra running back help, or max protect formations. When Tunsil is on the field, your play caller has the freedom to deploy 5 receivers into routes and attack all 3 levels of the defense without fear of a blindside strip sack. Without Tunsil, that entire playbook gets tossed into the garbage can. Dan Quinn announced that second-year lineman Brandon Coleman will shift out from left guard to take over the starting left tackle duties. Now, let's be completely fair to Brandon Coleman. He compiled 28 games of winning football during his collegiate career and showed legitimate flashes of starter-level potential during his rookie season. But asking a second-year player who was originally slated to play guard to suddenly step into the shoes of a $30 million Hall of Fame caliber anchor is an impossible, ruthless expectation. Coleman won't get the benefit of single coverage. Opposing defensive coordinators are already rubbing their hands in glee, preparing to test Coleman's lateral agility with stunt twists and blitz packages from day one. Furthermore, consider the immense pressure this places on first-time play caller David Blough. Moving away from Cliff Kingsbury's traditional no-huddle spread system, Blough was brought in specifically to institute heavy under-center formations, play-action rollouts, and multi-tight end sets. But when your left tackle cannot guarantee edge isolation, a rookie play caller is forced to adjust on the fly. Blough will now have to dial up quick-release screens, heavy chipset formations, and sprint-out pockets to protect Daniels' blindside. If Blough can execute a McVay-style masterclass to disguise this offensive line gap, Washington might survive. But if his play calling becomes predictable, defenses will pin their ears back and blitz relentlessly. And that brings us to the most dangerous element of this entire disaster: what this means for Jayden Daniels. Throughout his electrifying rookie campaign, Jayden Daniels captivated the football world with his jaw-dropping athleticism, escape mobility, and uncanny ability to turn broken plays into highlight reel touchdowns. But playing hero ball comes at a terrifying cost. Daniels took a punishing beating in his first 2 seasons, battling through nagging injuries while trying to carry an incomplete roster on his shoulders. The entire goal of hiring David Blough and revamping the coaching staff this spring was to protect Daniels from himself. The Commanders wanted him to operate under center, throw quick rhythm strikes, and stop taking bone-crushing hits in open space. Now, with the left side of the offensive line severely compromised, Daniels is going to be forced right back into Superman mode. When pressure breaches the B-gap and the blind side collapses in 2.1 seconds, a young quarterback doesn't stand in the pocket to go through his third and fourth progressions. He tucks the ball, breaks containment, and sprints downfield into oncoming linebackers. That is how franchise quarterbacks get battered. That is how seasons get derailed. Last year, Daniels ranked in the bottom 5 across the NFL against aggressive blitz schemes. Now, every single defensive coordinator on Washington's schedule knows that if you send heat off the left edge, Washington's entire offensive timing breaks down. To make matters worse, Dan Quinn's defense will now be under tremendous strain to bail out the offense. While interior disruptors Tim Settle and Shai Tuttle have generated legitimate push in padded practices, and edge rusher Joshua Josephs continues to demonstrate impressive bend and length, Washington's defense cannot carry the full load alone. If the offense cannot sustain long drives without Tunsil anchoring the line, Quinn's defense will spend far too many minutes on the field, wearing down late in fourth quarters against physical, power-running teams. Look at the brutal reality of the NFC East landscape. The Philadelphia Eagles still boast one of the most terrifying, deep defensive fronts in football, stocked with blue-chip pass rushers. The Dallas Cowboys possess game-disrupting defensive fronts capable of ruining game plans in a single quarter. Going into training camp, Washington had a legitimate case to challenge for the division title or secure a premium wildcard berth. But this single injury completely recalibrates their ceiling. Suddenly, Washington isn't competing at the top of the NFC East alongside Philadelphia and Dallas. They are dragged right back down into the mud alongside the New York Giants, fighting just to stay above 500. Can David Blough channel his inner Sean McVay and design a quick-release scheme that masks this offensive line deficiency? Can Dan Quinn's defense keep games close enough so Washington doesn't have to throw 40 times a game from behind? Or is Washington destined to watch another promising season spiral out of control because their $30 million wall crumbled before Week 1 even kicked off? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Are the Commanders' playoff dreams completely dead without Laremy Tunsil? Or can Jayden Daniels pull off another miraculous superhero season? Sound off below. Thank you for watching Sport Current. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video to support the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss the latest NFL and WNBA news, breaking stories, game updates, trades, and the biggest moments in American sports. Stay tuned for more updates, and we'll see you in the next video right here on Sport Current.